NOC officials are grilled by CID as last batch of athletes arrive. Wooing African countries, Tokyo Development Conference opens in Nairobi. Luhya unity only if I am the candidate. Western leaders speak on the mirage. It is a Saturday, the 27th day of August. I trust you're having a good afternoon. Many thanks for joining us on the Weekend at 1. My name is Michelle Ngele. Right, let's start with that developing story on the Rio fiasco. Now, the National Olympic Committee of Kenya officers were raided by police and kits meant for athletes recovered from the officers. The raid came just moments after the arrest of 3 NOC officials blamed for the problems Kenyan athletes faced during the recently concluded Olympics in Rio, Brazil. Reports also indicate that the 3 officials, Stephen Arap Soy, James Chacha and FK Paul, are currently being questioned at the CID headquarters in Nairobi. We are keeping tabs on this story and we'll bring you updates as and when they come. All right, so let's now go to the CID headquarters where our senior reporter Patrick Amimo has been following the events there. Patrick, good afternoon. What is the latest on the arrest of the NOC officials?
Thank you so much, Michelle Ngele. Indeed, I'm at the CID headquarters where those National Olympic Committee of Kenya officials who were arrested at the Jomo Kenyatta International last night are here to record a statement with the detectives. Remember, the Olympic team had issues with the kits, and it was, we saw the president indicate that those officials who either messed up with the kits or mismanaged the team will have to face at least the legal consequences. And this, the first step we are seeing here, these officials are coming to record a statement with the CID. Indeed, just yesterday we saw that we have the NOC Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Francis Paul. Others also making the statements here is the Chief de Mission, Stephen Arap Soy, together with the NOC Vice Chair Julius Chacha, who the two, that's Chacha and Soy, were arrested last night at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Immediately they arrived from Rio, Brazil, after the Olympics. The officials here, detectives did search the NOC offices and recovered, we told that they recovered kits that were meant for the athletes in Brazil. And this particular time, we expect these officials to record statements to that effect. Last week, we saw detectives also raid the home of Mr. Francis Paul to also get to see whether some of the things that are linked with the Olympic team could be in his premises. So the detectives are here. We have they're also recording statements from these particular 3 officials, and also they are with their lawyers to see how the matter will go. Early this week, we saw the Minister for Sports, Wario, disband NOC. So it's a matter that has been seized by the detectives, and also having given that the head of state had also expressed his concern about the way the Kenyan team at the Olympics was treated. So these officials are here, they are recording statements, and we'll keep you updated as the events unfold. So from the CID head office, back to you, Michelle Ngele.
All right, our senior reporter Patrick Amimo there from the CID headquarters. Moving on now, Co-Principal Moses Wetangula and Water Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa have said Luhya unity will remain a mirage. Speaking at Gamalenga, Vihiga during a women's conference, Wetangula said he has no problem working with ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi if Mudavadi joins him and supports his candidature. Wamalwa, however, asked Mudavadi and Wetangula to join the Jubilee team since they have failed to agree among themselves to front a single candidate from the region.
Lakini kile pia ningependa kuambia wazi ya kwamba Mheshimiwa Wetangula akisimama hapa akisema hawezi akamuunga Mudavadi, lazima Mudavadi amuunge. Watafaulu kweli? Mheshimiwa Musalia akisema hawezi kuunga Wetangula, lazima Wetangula amuunge mkono. Watafaulu kweli? Na nataka niwaambie wazi ya kwamba Wetangula akisema lazima awe ni yeye na asiungane na wenzake na asimame na Ford Kenya yake, hata faulu, ataanguka hiyo kura, atajipata kwa upinzani. Vile vile Musalia akienda peke yake na chama chake cha ANC asimame hiyo kura for free, nataka nimueleze, naye ataanguka tena vile tulianguka naye 2013.
Nimekuja hapa kuambia mimi na Musalia sina shida na yeye. Mimi niko kwa code, yeye ako kwa amani, lakini nimemwambia kuja tutembee pamoja ndio tuheshimiwe. Kuja tutembee pamoja ndio wengine waone wanaweza kutusaidia. Lakini yeye akienda njia yake, Weta anaenda yake, tunapunguza nguvu yetu.
Now, away from political intrigues, today marks exactly 6 years since Kenya gave herself a new constitution, the Constitution of Kenya 2010. In today's episode of our continuing series on the Constitution at 6, KTN's senior reporter Carol Nderi gives us a look into the challenges of devolution in Nyeri County. Take a look.
Behold, the new face of Nyeri town. The dazzling streetlights still a wonder to many locals and visitors to Nyeri. Previously, residents here would refer to the capital city Nairobi as Kiamatawa, meaning the haven of light. The well-lit Nyeri town is a model of how even smaller towns away from the capital or main cities can undergo major transformations. Though this is a project of the national government implemented during the beatification of Sister Irene Stephanie Nyatha in Nyeri, the county government is tasked with maintaining the streetlights and has so far been consistent. This has gone a long way in providing an opportunity for businesses to thrive as traders can now extend their hours into the night.
Enyewe hii mataa iliwekwa na county imetusaidia sana. Vile sahi kuna mwangaza mzuri, customers wakipita kwa barabara wanaona soko mzuri. Na tena kwa usalama, kuna usalama. Kama sisi vile huwa tunaenda soko asubuhi sana, tunakuta giza. Sasa hata kama mtu alikuwa amejifisha, hata unamuona.
Kabla ya matawi kuje, tulikuwa tunafuga saa 12, saa 1 ikifika tunafuga, sababu hii ingine nayo ilikuwa inakula pesa mingi sana, hii stima ingine ya kawaida. Sasa hii ya barabara ikikuja hata saa 6 tunaweza kuwa tunaendelea tu.
Washira Waroru, the Aguthi ward member of the county assembly, says devolution was well intended, but in Nyeri County, the fruits are still far from being realized.
If I was to rate Nyeri, it is doing below average. As a matter of fact, there has been massive misappropriation of finances in Nyeri. However, there are still some areas that probably can be able to say that at least some bit of development have been seen, starting from some roads, because at least you can be able to go to a ward and see at least a road or two. Evolution still starts that it is to empower Wajiko, which we may say as a leader that yes, we are getting there, but we are not yet anywhere near what was intended.
To its credit, devolution has brought about tangible changes to many people who might have felt marginalized and left out by the previous systems of governance. More roads in rural areas have been renovated or constructed where there were none, and markets put up. Nyeri, a county with 6 constituencies, is the former administrative unit of what was formerly the Central Province. In view of that, there have been unique aspects relating to the system of governance through devolution as entrenched in the new constitution.
Kutoka leo kuendelea mbele mpaka 2017 tutafanya kazi. Na bado kazi inaendelea, lakini italemea na itakuwa kazi nzuri. Tuko na mpango mingi imeongewa hapa, maji over 700 million katika Nyeri mzima. Tumepeana miferezi, tumefanya intakes, na hiyo kazi inaendelea.
As an agriculturally rich zone, the economy of the region is primarily related to the prosperity of agriculture here. Value addition is now the Nyeri County government's rallying call. Now, devolution is a concept that was intended to bring services closer to the people. Now, here in Nyeri County, what have the gains of devolution been vis-a-vis the sectors that are lagging behind. For a start, the residents of Nyeri feel that the intrigues playing out at the County Assembly of Nyeri against the executive or the executive against the County Assembly need to tone down a notch lower, because when the two organs do not work in sync or in harmony to work towards a common purpose to bring developmental projects to the people of Nyeri County, then it is the residents who are bound to suffer. Carol Nderi, KTN News, Nyeri County Assembly in Nyeri County.
Thank you for that report, Carol Nderi. Now, speaking of devolution, let's listen to Mandera County leaders on the matter of negotiated democracy.
But I want to tell you that this is not a monster team. This is a blessing to the community. This is a long overdue activity that we should have done a long time ago, which helps the day-to-day running of a community. The mandate of this team is three-pronged, to summarize it. It is social, because they deal with all social issues that confront the society, including conflict resolution, including peacemaking, including solving so many issues that happen in the community.
Inasemekana yale anatangaza kwake ndio anatangaza ya jirani ama ya jamii nyingine. Hii ni kutangaza yako na jirani na all Kenyans. Kenya yote inahitajiana. Hakuna mwingine inasema mimi najitosheleza kwa kisiasa, kwa kibiashara, kwa afya, kwa jirani. Kenya yote inahitaji mwingine, inahitaji mwingine.
All right, you're watching the Weekend at 1. Let's take a short break now, but don't go too far. When we come back, we speak to our Abi Agina, who is live at KICC, where the Ticket 6 conference is currently going on.
There are so many sites right in this area. The whole area is called Kupifora.
Sasa naona karibu kila mtu alipata mguu prints.
Wataalam wana matarajio kwamba kupatikana kwa nyayo eneo hili kutatupa vidokezo zaidi kuhusu maisha na mienendo ya binadamu wa kale.
Nimezaliwa na maumbile mbili.
Mtoto uliyembeba miezi 9 umempata na sasa hujui umweke kuke ama kuume.
Nimechukua mwelekeo mwingine wa kuwa kijana. Mbona mimi?
This is actually a female who looks like a man.
Ninaweza pata mimba kwa sababu ninaona menstruation period.
Udhia wa jamii inayohukumu na kukosa kuielewa hali.
Kila wakati nikienda hospitalini mahali ambapo hawanijui, mtu anataka kuconfirm.
Wale pia wafuasi pia walipoona hivyo, aibu ambayo nampa bwanangu, wanatoroka.
Je, angesoma? Angewezi kusoma, angekataa.
Sasa kama kunifukuza shule.
Ni katika shule hii mwaka wa 2010 ambapo James aliwahi kufukuzwa kwa kukisiwa na kasumba ya kuendeleza itikadi za usagaji.
Jumamosi na Jumapili.
As you may be aware, Africa has about 14% of world's population. and the population below the poverty line in Africa accounts for 12.7% of the total world population. As such, the majority of least developed countries in the world and the World Trade Organization are from African continent. We continue expending our energies to get out of this situation. And there is no doubt that trade will play the lead role in this quest, as trade drives development. Africa is a continent of hope, of promise, and potential. And through fair trade rules, we will be able to lift millions of our citizens out of poverty.
Welcome back to the weekend at 1. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, and a slew of African and global leaders have officiated the grand opening of the TICAD 6 conference here in Nairobi, Kenya. Speaking to a global audience in the millions in English, French, and Japanese, the leaders hailed the move to host the conference in Africa for the first time and the impact that this is expected to have on Japan-Africa relations. The focus of the talks over the next 2 days is expected to revolve around industry, services, environment, health and technical capacity, as well as knowledge transfer, even as multi-billion dollar deals get signed on the sidelines of the event. Now, while Africa faces the challenge of proactively utilizing its youth bulge in a progressive and development-oriented day, Japan's pollution is aging, economic growth stagnating due to a deflationary spiral, and hence the need for a growing market for its goods and the need for a partnership. Right, let's now link up with our Abi Agina, who joins us live from KICC, the main venue of the TICAD 6 conference. Abi, good afternoon. Bring us up to date with the proceedings so far.
Well, many thanks, Michelle. It's an eventful day here at the KICC. A lot of discussions happening. We did have an early session in the morning where there was the grand opening where the president attending the conference made key remarks. President Uhuru Kenyatta did address the particular conference, indicating that there is need to grow trade between Kenya and the Asian countries. A lot of focus as well on what sort of projects to sort of pump in the money to, and a majority of the presidents attending were saying Africa is ready to trade with Japan, and Japan also on this also reassured Africa that it is ready to trade with Africa, especially when it comes to funding infrastructure projects. So far, Michelle, they have committed $1 trillion shillings to come towards Africa, which will be shared across the different African countries, Michelle. Right now, where I'm standing is at the main exhibition hall where Prime Minister for Japan, Shinzo Abe, is expected any minute from now to come and just actually look at some of the stands here and look at some of the things they have to showcase in this particular area. A lot of Japanese companies have a pitched camp here. As you can see, the hallways are full to capacity. A lot of people showcasing matters to do with the motor industry. There's a lot of technology as well, matters to do with contractors are also trying to show some of the technologies that African countries can tap into when it comes to building and construction. And these are some of the key highlights coming in from this side. And there's also a lot of emphasis on security. As you can see, where we're seeing Japan is trying to showcase some of the matters to do with security and also infrastructure. As you know, Kenya and Japan are strong trade partners, and it is going to be a key event because this gives Kenya an opportunity also to see which areas they can partner with Japan when it comes to matters to do with economic partnerships. And that's just a quick feel of what you can see. As you see right now, Michelle, these are some of the Kenyans who are actually donning the Japanese attire, and this just gives you a taste of what's happening on the ground. Perhaps you can just have a quick greetings from them. Many thanks for joining us. Just say hi to us and what's happening on the ground.
Hello, my name is Rachel. We are hostesses in this program, TCAD, and yeah, we're happy to have you here.
Thank you very much. So it's also some sense of fashion being showcased here, Michelle. Issues to do with food and cuisine. And I mean, a lot happening here. And this will be culminating come on Sunday, where we are going to see the conference coming to a close tomorrow, where they'll be making a declaration on some of the key aspects that they are ready to partner with Kenya and also Africa. Like I said, there's also talk of partnerships in the health sector, in the agricultural sector, as well as in the security sector. All these are areas that Kenya will be keen to tap into from this conference. Heads of state still coming in. We did have various heads of state earlier on, including South African President Jacob Zuma, Nigerian President, as well as a host of other presidents, Michelle. That's just a quick snippet of what's happening on the ground as of now, Michelle.
All right, Abby, before I let you go, you've talked to us about what Kenya is looking to tap into from Japan. What is Japan looking to get from Kenya and this conference generally?
So for Japan, they are trying to see how can they secure some of the key projects that Kenya is executing. This include the LabSet project. Of course, Japan is one of the leaders when it comes to construction of high-end infrastructure. We did see Japan tackle the Nyali Bridge in Mombasa, which was constructed in the early 80s. Right now, as you know, Mombasa is one of the areas that the Japanese government is keen on ensuring they can partner with Kenya on. And they'll be also participating in the construction of the second container terminal and also upgrading of the port facilities because, as you know, Kenya is actually trying to ease trade and grow its ability to sort of export its items across the borders. And Michelle, that's one of the areas that Japan is keen on benefiting from Kenya, as well as in the security and defense. We're likely also to see some partnerships coming through for high-end security devices, high-end security matters to do with security. And this is just a quick showcase of some of the areas Kenya might want to partner in. These are some of the technologies that are being used by the Japanese when it comes to protection and security. So these are areas Japan is saying, Kenya, we are ready to partner with you. But the bigger question, Michelle, is how do we strike a balance? Because right now, trade is in favor of Japan. Kenya is sort of, the trade balance is quite huge. Kenya is exporting very less volumes to Japan. And as you know, Kenya is one of the biggest importers of cars from Japan. And this is an area President Kenyatta said, it is time that Japan also said, open up our markets so that we can also receive Kenyan goods, especially matters to do with the agriculture sector, where we are seeing a lot of agro-processing and also industries coming to set up in terms of trying to improve the value chain in the bigger matters to do with trade, Michelle.
Right, Abby Agina there from KICC. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be bringing you more live proceedings from TCAD in just a bit.